You are. You're a good guy. I like to call you a friend today. I have Andy Bulizak on, Regional Sales Director at Signature Golf, owner of Greenside Experiences, PGA professional, and soon to be dad. Thanks for hanging out, Andy.
Thanks for having me. Let's
No,
party.
yeah, dude, let's party. Let's hang out. Man, I don't have any Bud Light, but if I did,
I
I'd
was just
crack
gonna
one
say,
open right now.
wish I had a drink right now, but hey,
We'll get through
afterwards.
it. We'll get through it. I think we're both pretty good at talking. I'm pretty confident. Andy and I met each other. What? Probably. I don't know. When did you join that network group? About 5, 6 months ago now.
I don't even think it was that long ago. Maybe September
I was gonna say
last year, something like
September,
that.
right? And
Yeah,
like, I think tomorrow or in 2 days is February already somehow. So yeah, man, time flies.
I don't even. I'm surprised I even know what day it is
It's.
at
I'll
this
let you
point.
know. I look at my phone. Honestly, if it wasn't for my phone, I wouldn't know what day it is anyway. So it is what it is. But Andy, I really appreciate you hanging out. You're a pretty cool guy. You got some cool stories, and I'm excited to pry a couple out of you. But the first question I have for everybody is, where does your love of sports come from?
Mm. Um, I grew up in kind of a sports family, if you will. I grew up in upstate New York, so now obviously we're in New Jersey, but where I grew up was a very big hockey area. Grew up in Binghamton, New York, and so we had AHL teams, like semi-professional hockey teams. It's a small town, so like it was like a big to
Uh
do.
huh.
Like you went to like the Binghamton Senators games, and it was like a big thing. So I grew up in a family where like I was on skates almost as soon as I could walk. So always just playing sports, always just keeping active. And where I grew up, we had a huge backyard with a big hill and a bunch of trees and like woods and stuff. So me and my friends would go out and just always outside, always doing something, always being active, always playing outside. So uh, I guess you could say we're millennials. So um, when we grew up, we had internet, but like it was that dial-up
Yep.
baloney. So now you had to be outside doing stuff. I didn't have much else I could do. So I think a little combination of the two things, and then next thing you know, it's sports became a big part of my life, and then I got into golf a little bit later on, and that's kind of where I took my career. So
Yeah, man.
always playing something, doing something.
We're only a few years apart, and yeah, I mean, dial-up internet, that stuff was crazy. I can't believe we actually used it. It was nuts. Like thinking now, if I don't get something, if I don't pull down my phone screen and it doesn't immediately refresh, I'm already angry, like immediately.
Yep, it's really sad. Or like, as we were talking about, I just bought a house, and like the electrician comes every once in a while, and I don't even know what he's doing, honestly. But he's like, I got to turn the power off, and I'm like, what do I do? Like, I'm just like so useless. It's
Yep.
it's really bad. It's like really bad, and it's true. I can still remember that dial-up like noise.
Oh my God, yeah, that's ingrained.
That's like
Absolutely.
ingrained. Yeah.
hmm
Oh,
I will
oh, it's
never.
so bad.
I'll never forget that sound, and it is what it is. Thankfully, we're here now where internet speeds are good. 5G is coming soon, apparently, where instantaneous is actually a possibility. So, I'm cool,
Can you
man.
imagine trying to do this call with dial-up?
No, I actually
That would
cannot.
never happen.
It wouldn't
That would
work.
have been
Exactly.
awful for listeners.
Right. Awful for listeners, awful for me and you. I mean, we wouldn't even have been set up at this point yet. It's terrible. But no, man, I'm
It's
very
about an hour
grateful.
ago.
Yeah, right. I'm very grateful for the internet and the things that we can do with it. It let me have the career I have, and I'm sure it's helped you with yours as well. I always ask people, like, if I'm in like a professional setting and I've grown a nice rapport with somebody, I always ask them, like, what was it like before email? Because I don't know, 50 email a day sometimes, depending on what I'm working on. And how did you do anything before that? It's insane.
I wonder that too, actually. Yeah. My dad's actually at my house right now because we were laying down floors, and that's actually what I was doing before I got on the phone here. But he ran a whole business for 20 years, and he couldn't, God bless him. I mean, hopefully he can't hear me right now, but he couldn't even open up an email. Yeah, it's just, I guess it was all just like, I always think about like email and like cell phones and everything else. Like, okay, so here's the thing. So I'm a golf guy, right? So if you go to the Masters, Masters is the only golf event where you cannot bring your phone in. And that boggles my mind because, like, you always hear stories. You're like, oh, if I'm meeting you at the Masters, like, I would be like, okay, I'm going to meet you by the tree behind 12 green at 1 p.m. And if you're not there by 1:15, like, have a good time. Like, and it's just like, so that's like one of those only instances where like you don't have email, you don't have cell phone, you don't have anything. And it's like, couldn't imagine like your whole life being like that. And like, how is business done? Like how,
Right.
If I wasn't at my desk with my cell phone, with my like office phone, how would I make a sale?
Yeah.
How would anything happen? I guess everything just happened much slower. And I assume that with emails, but if you didn't have email, that's a great question. If you didn't have emails, everything would have to be done on the phone or
that's
a
what I
meeting
mean.
in person.
It's insane. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it. As you say, God bless them. I don't know. I mean, more power to them, but I'm very, again, very grateful we have the internet and the things that we do, because I feel like it makes life a lot easier. A lot less mess ups too. If everything's in writing, man, it's hard to screw that up. You know, I can take notes and I take good notes, but not, I mean, I'm sure I've misstepped once or twice along the way. So you brought it up a couple
Oh yeah.
times, and I'm definitely excited to talk about it a little bit more. You are a self-proclaimed golf guy, it sounds like. And you are a PGA pro, kind of cool.
Yeah.
You work with two other golf companies. You're the owner of Greenside Experiences, which isn't just golf, but I know it's involved. And then you're sales director at Signature Golf, which is mostly golf travel. I kind of want to take this, I guess, in chronological order. So I want to start with becoming a PGA golf pro. The first time I heard that, to me, that was like, oh, that's a guy that plays on the tour. And then I found out that's not quite what it means. So if you don't mind educating everybody else,
Yeah.
because I needed that crash course once as well. What exactly is a PGA pro?
It's a great question because it confuses a lot of people. So essentially there's basically two ways to be a pro. There's a playing pro where you are on tours, and that doesn't necessarily mean the PGA Tour. That could just mean anything, a mini tour, anything where you're actually out there playing for money. And then there's being a member of the PGA of America. The member of the PGA of America is you're more in the business of golf. So the way I always differentiate it is there's playing pros and then there's country club professionals. And that's kind of the more realm I'm in. So if you're a PGA of America member, you're a member of, it's considered the Professional Golfer Association of America, but we call ourselves like the business of golf. So we're the professionals of the business of golf. So golf is one of the few sports where there truly is an enormous business that goes along with it. You know, if you're, and not to bash anybody I'm using this as an example, but if you're a aspiring bowling professional and you want to go on the professional bowling tour, if you don't make it, then, I'm sure there is a business there, but it's not like you can make, there's probably not a lot of opportunities. Whereas a PGA America member, I think there's 28,000 of us. It's a
Wow.
huge organization. So essentially what we do is the main premise of our job is to grow the game of golf, along with, typically that means working at country clubs, teaching the game, running golf events. There's, I think, over 20 different classifications of PGA members. The most common is being a head golf professional or an assistant golf professional. So if you were a member at the nearby country club, there's going to be a staff of professional golfers who are running the events, running the golf shop, taking care of all the member baloney, and teaching the game. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. Club repair, selling clubs, club fitting. Then you can get into the sales rep sides of things. So there's a lot of ways to do it, but it's essentially now you're in the actual business of golf as opposed to playing. However, you are still a professional, so you can play for money, but it's on a more central scale. So the PGA of America has their own tours. Me being New Jersey, we have the New Jersey PGA. There's different PGA chapters, and you would actually, so I could go play in the New Jersey PGA events and work your way up. For those people who do know golf, they know there's 4 majors, and one of the majors is the PGA Championship. That is run by the PGA of America. So my organization I'm a member of actually runs that organization. The PGA Tour is actually a separate organization, but they all kind of work hand in hand. So think of it as more as you're in the business of golf. However, you do still need to be a good player.
Yeah.
You can't.
You can't suck.
It's like anything. You can't say you're a professional at something and not be good at it.
Yeah.
Well, you can technically, but it's not a very good look. But the way it kind of operates is you have to go through, it's kind of like getting your master's, actually. You have to there's like 3 levels of education. You have to go to Florida, do a bunch of seminars. You have to pass a playing test. You actually have to pass a test that's proving that you are a qualified enough golfer to be considered a PGA member. And once you get it took me about 4 years. It takes most people anywhere from 4 to 8 years to get it. And then once you get it, you have to maintain like points and go to meetings and keep up with your education and everything. Since I was a pro for many years at country clubs, I have now switched, as we alluded to the sales side of things. So now I work for Signature Golf, which is a golf travel company. So now basically my classification just changed. Mm-hmm. So you are a professional. It's kind of a joke between like my wife and like her friends. They're always like, well, I'm married to a professional athlete. I'm like, yeah, technically.
Hey.
Technically,
I can't say it. Man. That's awesome, and thank you.
It's tough. Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
It's a tough business. So you work at a country club. You work a lot of hours.
Oh yeah.
Weekends, holidays. When I was a club pro working at high-end country clubs, I was working 80, 90 hours a week in the summer, and it's a tough one. And you still got to keep up your level of playing. And people think like, oh, you must just play all the time. You never play.
No.
Never.
Yeah, absolutely.
You watch a lot of people play. You yourself don't play that often. So it's an interesting business for sure.
It's definitely I've never been a huge golf fan. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I watch everything, but I do watch the 4 majors. Obviously Sunday at the Masters, nothing like it, right? And it's just one of those things where I pay attention to all sports. I don't really care what it is. I'm paying attention in some capacity. My grandfather is big into golf. My brother plays all the time. My dad loves it. So it's always something that's been around the family. And I think you did a really great job at explaining, like, you're a professional on the business side of golf, because as you said, again, no offense to someone that's bowling, but where it's not nearly as extensive, right? Like, there's so much that you can do within golf and not just, play on the PGA Tour or the web.com or what is it, Korn Ferry Tour now, whatever it is. And, understanding all the aspects around it, because as we know, there's a lot of money in golf. There is a lot of money there. So you want to have those professionals like yourself that, hey, you're actually pretty good at the game. I'm sure, I don't know exactly what your handicap is. We can get to that. But, it's one of those things where you have to be pretty good at the game. You have to talk it. You have to know it. You have to walk it. As you said, help with everything from the club shop to this, that, and the other thing. You also have to understand the business side and what all that means, and understand the amount of money that goes into it. I've been to Wingfoot probably dozen times now. Place is incredible. The head golf pro there is just insane. Like, how much work that guy has to do. And then the people underneath him, like the caddy master, whatever. That guy, I've seen that guy more than anybody. We've gotten there at 5 o'clock in the morning and he's already on his 3rd cup of coffee. So it's like, what's going on, man? It's insane.
And the head pro and what we do as PGA members essentially in that role is you're the one running the entire golf operation. And at a place of that magnitude, and I mean, it could go anywhere from the highest end private club to a daily fee public place. I mean, you go to a public place around here and it's bumping, on the weekends and when the weather's nice. I mean, somebody has to run that operation. And I think that's where it gets lost, where people just assume that it's just happening. And it's like, well, no, there's a staff of people that do that. So, a head pro essentially is the one on top of that. And not only that, if you work at a private club, typically private clubs are owned by the members. So a member-owned country club, you could have 500 bosses, because essentially they're the ones paying you. So not only do you have to run the golf operation, you also have 500 bosses who you need to keep track of, and you need to, there's a lot of politics involved too. I mean, it's not just, I was a pro for 5 years at Sleepy Hollow Country Club, which is right near Wingfoot in Westchester. And that's a very high end private country club. And I mean, you gotta really have the ability to talk and put on a smile, and no matter how crazy it is, you gotta just reel it in. And it teaches you a lot. I mean, you learn how to talk. I could talk to anybody at this point. I could talk to the meanest guy. I could talk to the happiest guy. You just learn to make everybody feel, good. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it helped me when I got into the sales side of things a lot too, because it's not as easy. And trust me, when I got into it, I thought it was gonna be great. I'm gonna like be hanging out in the country club. I'm gonna play golf all day. This is gonna be the greatest. I am a genius for picking up this career. And that was not so much the case, but it was fun. When I did it when I was younger, and you meet tons of celebrities. You get a lot of perks. I mean, you're working for people who typically have money and they're higher ranking in their field, and especially where we live outside of New York City, you get a lot of people who can, and they like you. They love the golf
Mm-hmm.
pros at country clubs. You are the man, and they think of you. I always describe it as when they come into a country club, they're there to get away. They're not there to work. They're not there to, worry about their life's problems. They're there to play golf, have a drink, have a cigar. So when they see you, they think of like immediately happy things. So like I could go out now and run into a member that I used to have, and they're, oh Andy, it's so good to see you, because like they don't associate you with like crappy work stuff. They think of you as like, oh, like remember that time when I was like half in the bag and you were playing golf, and like it's a different thing. And to not throw a wrench into it, but not only that, you said you've been to Wingfoot. Were you there for outings, like
Yeah.
charity events?
Yeah. Charity events.
That's another whole bird with the business. You're not only doing what you're doing with your members and what the play that's happening on a daily basis, you also have outside events too. So
Yeah.
it's a lot. Yeah, it's a big business. And after a while, I was like, man, I kind of want to like have kids, and I kind of want to like be around.
Be kind of
So
nice.
I made a transition. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's cool though, man. I mean, it's definitely, you seem grateful that you had the opportunity and you did it. I mean, you had the opportunity, you worked for it, and you got it. And it's just it's a very interesting lifestyle. And again, I think a lot of people have the perception that, oh yeah, you
Yeah.
just like hang out and play golf all day. Like you're a golf pro, so people probably are just like, hey Andy, you want to go shoot? And you're probably like, yeah, let's go. Let me teach you a thing
Yeah.
or two. So, but I mean, understanding now, especially at the private places as you described, like having 500 bosses, you essentially run the business. You have 500 bosses, but they're just there to get away. They're not there to do work, right? So they pretty much
Right.
pile everything on top of you. And you make a great point. It allows you to appease a lot of people, and the politics. I can only imagine what politics is like with that many extremely rich people. I don't even.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe I do. Do you have a good story? Just no names, maybe initials, no names, but no. It's definitely it's a
I would say
weird.
I have stories that would make me probably look bad, but
Okay, well,
no,
we're good. We're good then.
there's a lot of good stories, and it's just a very, very interesting. I always said, and I still think this, that I should have written. Somebody should write a book, like an anonymous book, about stories from golf professionals at country clubs where everything's just anonymous, because
Yes.
me amongst my friends who are in this business, we just have all these stories, and we're like, it's bad. We could throw so many people, but if we really wanted to, it's really interesting. There's actually there's a show on Amazon called Red Oaks.
Okay.
Really good watch. It's about a tennis pro. It's basically the same thing as what a golf pro does, but it's on the tennis side, and it goes into like the members, and like it's very, very funny, and a lot of it's very true. That's a good watch for anybody who wants to learn more about the country club lifestyle. But a country club's a business, so
Yep.
You're essentially part of that business,
And it's a
in
high
a big
revenue.
way too, because typically the golf part of it is
Yeah.
the biggest part of it. The food and beverage, the tennis, the pool, that all people wouldn't. 90% of the time, people aren't going to be there if it isn't for the golf course. So, yeah, it's a wild business for
I
sure.
mean, country club, at least in my mind, and I'm sure in a lot of other people's minds, is synonymous with golf, right? Like I don't assume when I hear country club, I assume golf in some capacity. A golf, like I don't assume tennis. Like I think all that stuff's there. I'm sure there's basketball courts there too, but like the 1-to-1 is, oh, it's a country club. That means that they play golf there. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's kind of what it is, and that's how it works. And as you said,
For
I
the
mean,
most part,
it's not just a business. It's a high revenue business with a lot of people paying a significant amount of money to be there, especially when you get into the high end places like Sleepy Hollow, like Wingfoot, Baltusrol here in New Jersey. It's just, these places are
Right.
insane, and people pay a like six figures a year to just be able to golf there. So you have to make sure they're happy, because if not, it's a huge chunk of revenue right off the top. So it's pretty cool, man. And I think it is awesome, that you had this opportunity. And the one thing you brought up Sleepy Hollow, and I know I've asked you this
Mhm.
before, but never recorded. But I've been to Sleepy Hollow as well. It was super creepy, especially at night, and I was
Yeah.
very uncomfortable, like to the point where I refused to get it. Like at 3 o'clock, I woke up and I was like, I'm not going to the bathroom. I'm just gonna like hold this one out, and I'm just gonna try and get back to sleep. So, is it?
Oh, did you stay on property?
I did stay on property one time.
Yeah.
It was the
Pretty
bedroom. If
wild.
you go up, if you're looking, it was on the, if you're looking at the property, it was on the left side. Walk up that long staircase, and it was the first room right there. It was a big room, two nice beds, bathroom, and everything. But man, it was creepy in there, and I
Yeah.
did not like it. So you got to tell
Yeah.
me on recording, is that place haunted?
Oh, probably. Yeah, it
Okay.
wouldn't shock me if it is. But it's like but it is in like a cool way,
Yeah.
because it's like you think of Sleepy Hollow, you think of like the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and you think of like the Headless Horseman, and actually their logo is the Headless
Yeah.
Horseman.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Probably one of the best logos in golf. And I actually lived on property when I worked there. When you pull up, there's like a horse stable area, and I used to live, believe it or not, next to the horse stable, which had a little bit of the smell, but I got used to it. And I would walk to work, and at night they have no lights at that place.
Oh my God,
None.
yeah, it was terrifying. Driving up that windy driveway, I was
Yeah.
like, "Where am I? Am I in the
But
right spot, man?"
that's like the point. I think
Yeah.
that's like the point. Like it's like such an aurora. And like I always remember there was one time, I think it was like my first year there, and I was like, I'm gonna go for a jog. It's gonna be great. And I like went at night, and they have houses on the property too up back, and I started like running up there, and I got like halfway, and I'm like, I gotta go back. Like this is there's no like nothing.
Ooh,
I mean nothing up there. It's wild.
it is
And like when
crazy.
it's misty and stuff, and like, but man, that place. So when you're, I don't know, were you out in the golf course at all?
Yeah, but it poured the entire time, so we really didn't get too far. It was unfortunate. Beautiful
When
though.
were you there? I was probably working.
No, it was probably like 2017, so I think it was right after you left, if I'm not mistaken.
After my illustrious tenure, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How long
Well,
you were there for?
what are you
What?
gonna do?
How long were you there for?
2000, 2012 to 2015.
Okay, so a solid
Yeah.
3 years though.
And then I was a pro down here for a year at a club, and then got into sales.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think Sleepy Hollow, it's such a cool place, and
It's a cool place.
you could feel it, man. Like I was very confident that it was haunted. I asked all the people that worked there. I'm pretty sure they were just like, just pulling my chain a little bit. But yeah, man, it felt weird there, and I really liked it. But
Yeah.
I refused to get up, especially in the middle of the night. I was just like, because my cousin has worked there multiple times, and he has some freaky stories. Specifically, I guess there was one bedroom upstairs that he said he stayed in one bedroom once, and it was uncomfortable. Please, you're excited. Talk to me.
Well, there is a room where, and this is what happened before I got there, and I'm kind of telling from what I've been told, but
The telephone, yeah.
there was an employee who,
Uh-huh.
like he like committed suicide or something
Yeah.
in one of the rooms, and like that's probably the room he was in. So that's probably where he got it from. There's some wacky stories. I mean, I used to do, if you want a good story,
Yes.
and this is more of a personal story. This has nothing to do a lot with the club. But so what I used to do when I was single was I would go out in like Terrytown, or I'd go out in like White Plains or whatever. And, if you met a girl, I would just be like, hey, if you've heard of Sleepy Hollow Country Club, oh yeah, of course. I've always wanted to go there. And I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. And then I would be like, do you like horses? Yeah. It doesn't like horses. What female doesn't like horses?
Yeah.
So then I would use that as like a way to essentially get, I'd be like, oh, well, why don't we go see the horses? So I'd just, we'd go back and then I'd like let them feed the horses, and I'd feed the horses and stuff. And then, I'd be like, oh, do you want a drink? My farmer's right here. And it was just like, it didn't work like way too many. I had like a good little stretch where it worked. And then I actually got in trouble. The general manager was like, that there's cameras like where the horses are. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I,
I knew. Yeah, I knew that. That's fine. I think we were just feeding the horses. They were hungry. Like, what do you want? What do
yeah.
you want from me? That's
He's
funny.
like, you can't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, I could see. If it worked for a little while though, man, it sounds like you had the
Oh, it was
process
a
and the
good run.
structure down, and it did what it was intended to do, which was
It
feed the
was a good
horses, right?
run.
So
It was a
good
good
run.
run. I let it go, and then it was very funny. The GM was actually pretty cool. He's like, I'm not really mad at you because it's actually kind of a brilliant idea,
Yep,
but
absolutely.
just stop doing it. And I was like,
Yeah,
okay, that's fair.
deal. As long as no one's hurt and no one's in trouble, we're good to go. Very funny, dude. Awesome. So now, after as you already said, you were at Sleepy Hollow for a couple years, and you came down here to New Jersey, is what I'm assuming. Ran a country club
Yep.
here for a little while, and then got into the sales aspect of it.
Mhm.
Which came first, Greenside or? Well, I know there was another golf travel company first,
Yeah, I
correct?
started with a different golf travel
Okay.
company first, which I was with them for about a year, almost exactly a year, and then Signature Golf picked me up, gave me a little bit better of an offer, and
Hmm.
so I've been with them since. I'm going on about 2 years with them, and they are so essentially Signature Golf is a luxury golf travel company. So I work with um, head golf professionals at country clubs, assistant golf professionals, really any of the professionals at clubs, um, as well as directly with their members, and partner with the country clubs in a way where I'm saying, okay, I'm here to partner with you to handle all of your member travel, because a lot of the members do travel to play golf, and a lot of head golf professionals travel with their members because number one, it's great job security for them because you're building those relationships, but also it's a good bonding thing that a lot of guys do. So it's a huge business. Our main areas where we send people are kind of the meccas of golf. So Scotland, England, Ireland, um, and then domestically, and then Caribbeans, Cabo. There's all these different places down to Florida, and it can stem all the way from. I have groups where I simply just help them with their tee times because I have more pull, or I might know people, or me being a PGA member, I can kind of land people at spots that they might not be able to do on their own. So I have groups where I just do tee times for them, and they get an Airbnb somewhere, and I just handle all their tee times, and they can go all the way up to a group of 30, 40 people going to Scotland, and we're doing, drivers and hosts and dinners and staying at 5-star hotels and playing, some of the most amazing golf courses you can ever imagine. Out there in Ireland and Scotland, those courses are just, that's where it all started. So it has a whole different feel. People who are like really into golf and have played a lot of golf courses, you start to learn like different architects and how they design golf courses and how they're made and the grasses that are used
Hmm.
and why is this bunker here as opposed to here and just crazy things. And there's a rhyme or reason between all of it. So old school courses like that are overseas are just, they're so incredible.
Hmm.
They're done so well. And it's really a cool thing. So I have groups that go over there and spend a week out there and go to the bars at night and play golf during the day and go to the distilleries and go to, drink Guinness. And it's a really cool thing. And then aside from that, it grows from there. You have groups that go to Portugal, Spain. I have a group actually going to South Africa. We just introduced to South Africa. It's like a safari golf experience. It's 12 days. You go to safaris, you play golf, you drink wine. It's a big couples trip. So it really can stem, and you can go anywhere in the world. There's people who go to Iceland to golf, Italy. It's really quite wild, just how global of a sport it is, and people who, there's guys who just have groups of guys. You and I, if we play golf and we were buddies and we were friends for 10 years, and we have other guys we've been playing golf for 10 years. These guys, I work with guys who this is like what they look forward to
Hmm.
every year.
Hmm.
Me and my guys are going to go out. We're going to be degenerates. We're going to play a bunch of golf. It's going to be great. And it's a cool business because of that.
Yeah.
You're essentially a travel agent, but your focus is around the golf courses around the area of where they're going.
Hmm.
It's a cool
That
business.
it is super cool, and I remember when you first explained it to me, and it was confusing, but but awesome. And the more I got to know you and understand the business, I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, as we've been talking about this whole time, there's so much money in golf. You know, these country clubs, these guys, again, they pay six figures to just be allowed to be a member there. It's insane. So, of course, that means they probably are a little more affluent, which means they're going to want to go overseas. They're going to want to go to these
Yeah.
places. They're probably business owners. They're higher up in their corporations that they're in. They probably play a lot of golf if they're a part of a country club. Hey, man, you haven't been to Ireland in a couple years. Why not? I'll set it all up for you. You
Yeah.
give us a couple extra bucks. It doesn't even matter. We'll be your concierge. We'll white glove this for you. Send you over there. We'll have everything ready. So I think it's an awesome business. I think the business model is really cool and the way that you guys do it. And so, I mean, it's also really awesome that you can send people literally anywhere on planet Earth, it sounds like at this point. As long as there's a golf club and it's high enough class that people want to go to, I mean, shoot, why not have Andy send you there, right?
It's true. Yeah, you can. I've had requests for the most bizarre places that you just wouldn't even consider. Now I've been doing this. This is my fourth year doing the actual travel side of things. So the first few years you're still learning. But man, when you really get into it, I mean, you think about it. It's just like you said. If it's as big as it is here, it's going to be big everywhere. I mean, you look at a PGA Tour event and how many countries golfers are coming from. It's all over. It's definitely not just a sport that's used in one country. And and a lot of it too, there's not just the leisure part of it. It's a huge business as a part of, there's guys with memberships at these country clubs who are using it for business. They're using it to bring clients out to play golf. If you're going to do business with me, or you're going to do business with Joe Schmo, we could be exactly the same and offer you the exact same thing. But if I say to you, hey, let's go play Sleepy Hollow, I'm a member there.
Yep.
And he doesn't have that ability, I mean, you're probably going to do business with me over him.
Yeah.
And now, not only that, you get 4 to 5 hours on a golf course with no cell phone to just get to know this person, learn about. I bring clients out now to play golf, and sometimes you're not even there to talk about business. It's just the fact that you're getting to know them in a more personal level, and you get to share that experience. And that goes back to what a golf pro is doing when he's going on a trip with 7 of his members to Scotland for a week. It's called job security. I mean, that's how you are building a business. So I have groups that I send away, and it has nothing to do with guys who've known each other for 25 years and it's just a yearly thing. It could just be a guy who his company says, hey, you have this budget. Take your top clients or the top people you're trying to get to be clients and go show them a week, and guarantee they're going to be clients after that. They're going to be doing business with you after that. So there's so many different avenues that you can take with the golf business that I don't think you can with a lot of sports. So it's very interesting. And with you being an Olympic guy, golf's part of the Olympics now.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Do you know that?
Say that again. Oh, golf is part of the Olympics. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really help any of them because they're all, like professional golfers. Yeah. So I don't really do too much with them, to be honest. I would love to. I think Ricky Fowler was on the team in 2016. I think, I don't know, maybe Jordan Spieth was there. I think, Rory McIlroy was there, obviously not on the U.S. side, but Bubba. I know Bubba Watson was on the team. I mean, it's awesome. And, what they're doing, I think is cool. And it expands the game of golf, but also the Olympics. I mean, more people are going to watch if it's just, hey, there's just another tournament that we can watch now, right? But unfortunately, those aren't the type of athletes that I look for, because I think they're going to be just fine without me. But maybe one day.
They're not hurting.
No, I think they're doing well, and more power to them. They put a lot of work in, and they're incredible at what they do. So I do love it. But yeah, man, it's a cool thing. And I think, again, I just think what you're doing is so interesting, and the fact that you can, as you said, you're a travel agent, but for a very specific group of people that want to do a very specific thing. And that's actually better. I'm sure, I talk to travel agents because I want to go to an awesome beach somewhere and go to some resort, and that's what they can do for me. And I love it. But, there are people out there that have done that enough times. They're in their 40s or 50s, and now they just want to go play all these incredible courses around planet Earth. Hey, you're capable of doing it. I mean, what's that process like? I know you said, like, some guys it's just tee times, and other guys it's this whole, rigmarole. Like, what exactly is the process like when someone comes to you? Well, first, let's actually start there. how do you find the clients?
Yeah, so part of it is me finding or working with golf professionals or people I already know in the business, and using them as kind of that avenue to get in. And other times it's just proper advertisement, proper, taking people's emails that you meet, and keeping the word out there. And you could get guys who it's a matter of, it's a once in a lifetime thing, or it's something they do every year. And so it's like anything with sales, is as you build it and as your name gets out there more and more, people start to know you for that. So I've kind of slowly gotten to the point now where golf professionals and people in this area just, we're in New Jersey, so everybody's got to have a guy, right? I feel like I'm starting to become like the travel guy to a lot of golfers, and that's great because then I don't have to be out there as much hustling. But, sometimes it's as simple as some of my buddies who are head golf professionals at high-end country clubs will just simply shoot me an email, say, hey, this so-and-so came into the shop. He was asking me about Scotland, and, can you take care of him? And sometimes it can be as simple as that. Other times it's just people that I've maybe just known for years of being in the business. And just growing your name, doing networking events, doing everything you can to get in front of people, because most likely a lot of people golf, and everybody who golfs loves to talk about golf. And they
Yes.
love to talk to a PGA member. So if you can just get them talking about it, usually it might not lead to something right then and there. And it might not lead to anything ever, but that guy might know somebody
Exactly. Yep.
who goes on a trip every year or is looking to go on a trip. And that's just, it's just like anything. It's exactly like with what you do. It's just a matter of getting out there and getting in front of people and having them know what you do. And that's pretty much how it's grown, to where it is. And it's still a hustle. I mean, I'm still out there grinding away, but the actual process is kind of interesting. And I think the people who do this, they think of it as a normal travel thing where I want to go these dates, let's go. And they don't really see, and this is what I run into a lot, they don't understand so much that there's a lot of availability issues, because you're not just booking a hotel. You're booking tee times. So if you wanted to play Royal County Down, which is the #1 golf course in the world, you can't reach out to me 3 months before you want to go and say you want to play there, because that place is booked. And if there's no tee time, there's nothing I could do for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Unfortunately. So with the golf travel, if you want to play certain spots, St. Andrews, Royal County Down, certain spots you have to plan so ridiculously far out in advance sometimes. And that's probably the biggest hindrance that I run into, is people who just don't simply understand that. And it's not anything against them, but they don't understand that and they don't plan properly. And I'm bringing this up because I had a guy who I got in touch with yesterday who actually apologized to me. He said, I'm sorry that we're planning this so far out in advance. And I was floored by that. I was like, I wish everybody did this. Like, you're not doing anything wrong. You're actually doing everything right.
Yep.
Because now I can not only get you tee times, but I can get you good tee times.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not teeing off. I had groups that tee off at like 4 p.m. at some spots. And they're like, why am I teeing off at 4 p.m.? Like, because you booked it 3 months ago. You should be happy you even are playing the golf.
Yep. Right.
So you do fight that part of it, which is the hardest part about it, for sure. Because if there's no tee times, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, and you make a good point, and that's, again, not being a golfer. I understand obviously how tee times work. I've been to courses and everything, and not really kind of considering that aspect of it. Yeah, it seems like more of a travel gig, but really in reality, there's a lot more that goes into it. You're not just booking a hotel or flights. It's the tee times. It's everything that's involved there. And I'm assuming, tell me if I'm wrong, but if people go places, if they're there for a week, they're not just playing golf one time. I have to assume they're trying to go to multiple courses. They're either trying to play the same course a couple times. Maybe there's an east and a west kind of thing. Yeah. So, I mean, that just makes it even more difficult. So thanks to that guy for doing it. So how far in advance exactly is he scheduling this?
May of 2021.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. And he probably got everything that they're looking for then. They probably got the best times.
He will. He will.
That's awesome.
And that's the most ridiculous thing, is he was like, we're kind of jumping the gun. I'm like, you're not jumping the gun. This is great. Because I had a group that booked November and December of last year for a trip that's October of 2021. So it was almost
2 years,
2 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they're
And
probably
because they
getting the
wanted
best.
St. Andrews, they wanted Muirfield, they wanted courses, because some of these courses too that overseas, I mean, I could go on forever, but some of these courses they're actually they're privately owned golf courses where they might only be open to the public 1 or 2 days a week.
Mm.
So if it's a club that's a top 20 golf course in the world and they're only open 2 days a week to the public, there's not a lot of tee times that are floating around. So it's an interesting business, because the earlier you plan, unless you just have dumb money and you don't care, you pretty much have to plan it very, very early. And that's easily the hardest part of my job, for
Yeah,
sure.
I could see that. Yeah, that's a really interesting part that you bring up. I think that's pretty cool. And you also brought up a couple other things. The process on how to get to people. It's sales, right? So it's relationships, and you're doing high price sales. This isn't like, we're selling,
Yeah.
nothing against people that sell printers, but it's not quite the same thing. You're selling, I'm assuming some of these range in easy 5 figures, if not higher on occasion, especially when you're talking about some of these other places, especially because of the breadth of what you guys do. I'm assuming it's okay. We'll get your plane, you got your hotel, you got your this, that, and the other thing. So these can get pretty expensive. So it is very relationship based, and that's awesome that you've become the golf travel guy in the area. Hopefully, we keep doing whatever you're doing, man, because that seems like it's going to be a pretty great thing, especially moving forward now that you got a baby on the way, and college and all that stuff. We heard what Steven said. Steven's a mutual friend of ours, and he said he spent almost $1 million on education, which is incredible.
Like,
so just wait till you're a dad, and in a few years when I'm a dad, and then plus 18, how expensive college is going to be then. Start saving now. But so with that, so the networking part, the hustle is absolutely still there, and you got to grind a lot. But another thing that you said that was really interesting, we've kind of been talking about this as if it's, okay, these are people that do this regularly. These are the guys that go out. But you said sometimes this is the once in a lifetime experience for some people. How do you make sure in all of these situations that you're really like understanding, like, as you said, you have some guys it's like, all right, I got your tea time, guys. Like, this is cool. We know what we're doing. But in other situations, how do you really make sure that once in a lifetime experience is really captured and done as well as you possibly can?
Yeah, you do get those, and it makes sense. I mean, you get people who maybe aren't able to spend the money to do something like this.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people that
Yeah.
want to do something like St. Andrews and these other courses, but obviously it's a 1% thing. Like, not everybody can go out and do that.
When you think of really any sport or hobby or anything, there's probably like a mecca for each of those. There's a place where you're going, or everybody wants to go, and it's like you got to do it once. So like typically that's like a Scotland, Ireland type of deal. So St. Andrews is obviously the home of golf. It's the first golf course. It's it is what it is. So I get a lot of people who are like, it's my 50th birthday, or my son's going away. I get a lot of like, my son's going away to college, and him and I play golf together all the time, and I want to bring him out to St.
That's
Andrews
cool.
to do this before he runs off to school and I never see him again. So you get a lot of those, and it's a little bit different of a bird, because those are actually probably the best clients, honestly.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Exactly. They're not expecting, like, they don't exactly know what, like, it's just everything's just like, wow, oh my God, whereas you guys have been 1,000 places already, they kind of expect a little bit more. So, but yeah, our company does, I've taken trips with them, like, which is easily the best part of my job, is that I get to travel, and it's like anything. Like, if you sell shoes, you got to know the shoes. You have to be able to try them on and be able to wear them. So, like, for me, it's like, well, I sell travel, so I need to go see these places. So that's the best part, because my company will send me out there, once a year to go to these golf courses, go to these hotels, and get a feel for them. Because then, for me to be able to sell it at that point, it's hard to sell a trip to Scotland. I've never been there. What am I gonna know? I'm just Googling it, going, yeah, well, it's got great reviews on Google, so it must be good. And whereas if I can actually go out there and be like, oh, this one golf course is amazing, you should see the views. We did this, we did that, and it makes it so much better. So a lot of times, you're working with those like once in a lifetime groups, you can really hype them up and get them excited about it because you've been there and you've seen it and you've done it. So that's a good part about my job. I do get to travel a little bit, and usually it'll pay. So
Yeah. All
that's
right.
good, especially with
Nope.
the kids coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think it's so cool that you can, especially because you love the game of golf, obviously, as we've been talking about so much, you can have those experiences and you can help other people with those experiences that are, maybe to some people it's a little more regular, but to others it
Yeah.
is truly like that's something they're going to remember for the rest of their life, literally.
Yeah.
And it's cool being able to impact people like that. I think I think you got a pretty cool gig going on there, Andy. I think you got a pretty cool gig.
I
So
try. I do
yeah,
try.
hey man, it's working, whatever you're doing. So then the other side of your, I don't know, your brain, your reality
My
is,
life. Yeah.
yeah, the other side of your life. You own a business as well, Greenside
Yeah.
Experiences. And this is where you do a lot of memorabilia and you raise money for charities and auctions of that sort. So, tell me exactly what helped you, because if I'm not mistaken, those two started relatively close to each other, right?
Yeah. It was actually when I left my first travel job when I started with Signature Golf. So kind of an interesting way it happened, but for a little while when I was still figuring out what I was selling and what I was doing, and basically my first couple of years in sales, I was independent and I was just doing anything I could to make money. Like I was walking dogs. I mean, I was doing everything. And one of them was I was repping for a company that sold Arnold Palmer memorabilia. And at the time, he had just passed away. So
Mm-hmm.
it was like I was using my golf contacts and I was selling this stuff like crazy because it was just, it's kind of easy to sell when you say to somebody, do you like Arnold Palmer? Yeah, I do. Okay, well, he's not signing anything anymore. So if
Yeah.
you want one,
Mm-hmm.
like, you should probably do it now.
Yeah.
And so I was selling all this stuff and I was using that along with the golf travel stuff. And I was going to charity events, golf events that maybe I'd worked with in the past when I was a pro, and just saying, why don't you raffle us off? Why don't you do an auction with this stuff? I'll give you a 2-person trip to Stream Song Resort. Use this and sell raffle tickets and give it away. And just anything I could do to make a sale, essentially. And when I transitioned into signature golf, I kind of was like, I built this bit of a following and I kind of built these connections. So I don't want to get rid of that. And so I just ran with it. I started my own company. And actually, it's funny because I started my own LLC as a tax thing originally.
Mm-hmm.
To being honest, I was
Smart
like,
man.
I
No,
could take
why
money.
wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Everybody should do it. LLC yourself, man. I don't know why more people don't do it.
I know it's crazy. And so I did that. And then I was like, wow, yeah, maybe I'll, the client reaches out to me and I was like, yeah, I'll help them out. Why not? It makes a few bucks. And then I just started running with it. And it's blown up to the point now where I do 30 or 40 events a year. I do mostly silent auctions. But like I said, I do a lot of travel. I use my golf travel, and I also have vendors that I sell other trips for, like, non-golf, like Tuscany, Italy, or
Mm-hmm.
Napa Valley, whatever it might be. And I use these things, either silent auctions or raffles, typically, or live auctions, and I give them to charities on a consignment basis. So it's a non-risk. You can't lose money. I bring everything in. If 10 things sell and maybe the charities cut in 25%, I send them a check I'll take the payments. I go to the event, I set everything up, I'll take the payments, and I'll send the charity a check for, whatever it might be, $1,000, $2,000. And conversely, if nothing sells, they don't lose money. They can't lose money. So for a lot of events, it's kind of a no-brainer. And for other events, it could just be, maybe it's a charity that's been going on for 25 years and they just are running out of
Mm-hmm.
ideas or running out of donated items, or it's the same stuff every year. And I might just come in and do a couple things. But it's expanded to the point where, like I said, I'm doing 30 or 40 events a year, and it's not just Arnold Palmer stuff. It's not just golf stuff. I'm in my office right now. I got Giant stuff, Yankee stuff. I got jersey signed. I got Eagle stuff. It's entertainment stuff. I got a Scarface thing in here somewhere. It's anything you can imagine. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just kind of blown up into that portion to where I think up until this point, I started it in June of 2018. I think going into this year, I was up to like I think I helped raise like somewhere between $65 and $70,000
That's awesome.
for various charities and not for profits. So it's fun, you know, and I'm kind of a nerd, and I kind of like the memorabilia stuff. I always have since I was a kid. So it's like, I kind of like, it's kind of a hobby that I turned into a little bit of a business, but, and it all ties into what I do with the golf business, because I use a lot of my golf clients to get into these events, and I do use the golf travel.
I was going to say, you
in the
just
auctions as well.
sell the golf travel there, right? Kill two birds with one stone.
Double dipping.
Yeah, not bad.
Double dipping, baby.
Pretty smart,
That's the way to do it.
I love it. I love it. So with like, I'm always curious. Have you bought everything beforehand? So all those things are technically owned by you. So they're yours. You have them, and if you sell them, you sell them. If not, are you kind of like, you just get to look at them some more? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. If there's one really super downside to it, it's the fact that if I make dumb purchases and I buy something that I'm like, oh, that's going to sell, that's popular, and then it just doesn't, you're kind of stuck with it.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing I just got a house, because for a while, my wife's a saint, because I had piles of stuff just like in our bedroom of our 1-bedroom apartment, and it was just like, oh my Lord. But yeah, I mean, I would say 80% of the stuff I'm using, I own. I do have some guys that I rep for who will basically give it to me at a net rate, and I just mark up a little bit. I don't make as much, but I'm not stuck with it. If it
exactly. Yeah.
Bears. And so I do that more so for like the bigger ticket items. So I'm not coming out, because if I bought everything, like every single thing, and through the course of a year, you're going to be stuck with a lot of stuff. And it's not that any of the stuff is really bad. It's just like, maybe it just isn't your audience or whatever it might be. So yeah, like right now, I have a pile of stuff over in the corner, and then I got 3 other boxes in another room of stuff. But this time of year, it's slow this time of year. It's an interesting thing, because the way my businesses work, in the winter, the travel stuff is actually busier. And then in the summer, the auctions and the charity stuff is bigger. So it kind of
balances out.
Balances itself out pretty nice. Yeah.
That is pretty cool, man. I think, again, like being able to also raise charity, doing something that you do, doing something that you love. I think it is pretty darn cool how you've been able to kind of combine these two aspects of, everything that you've done. So it sounds like with the Greenside experiences, a lot of it has come through your connections, has come through the people you already know that are dealing with the charities, that are people that are a part of these organizations in some way. And they say, hey, like, as you said, there's zero risk to them. You come in, you set up, you do everything, and then they, if they make money, they make money. If not, hey, hopefully you had a good time, right?
We tried.
Yeah.
And I don't charge anything to be there, so it's and the way that business has grown, especially, and this goes for anybody who's in, it just goes back to what we were saying about sales, is just getting out there. Is that if typically when I'm at an event, I always offer to be there, because I could go to an event and sell nothing, but you're probably going to meet somebody who goes, oh, explain this to me. And I'll explain it to them. They go, I'm on the board of whatever charity, or I run this event, or I'm part of this. And then the next thing you know, you're doing their event. So it does, that is basically, like, I don't do really any advertisement at all for my charity stuff and my own company, Greenside. It's very word of mouth, very referral based. And that's usually how that's actually 95% how that business has grown. Just going to an event, you meet somebody, and then you end up doing their event. And, or you do these networking events. And because everybody, especially this area, everybody's involved in some sort of not-for-profit. So it kind of, and if you're just a good person who just does a good job and works hard and tries their best, and you're not trying to screw them over, you're not trying to use them as a way for yourself to make money, but and it's not for me. For me, this is my side thing. So I always say to people, listen, I'm here to help you make money. Obviously, I do make some money here, but I'm not here to screw you over. I'm here to, the goal is that you raise as much money as possible. So because in hindsight, if you raise more money, I end up making more money too. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Exactly.
So, and I truly mean that, because I figure I can, if I've done any wrong in my life, maybe this will this will help balance things out a little
your
bit.
your GM from Sleepy Hollow is like, all right, turns out he's a pretty good guy.
He's fine.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Good stuff, man. So I guess moving forward with the combination of the three kind of aspects, where the middle of that Venn diagram, what does that look like? The PGA Golf Pro, the guy who runs this charity organization, the guy who does the the golf travel. I feel like there is like there's that Venn diagram and there's something in the middle there. I mean, what's your vision looking forward? What are you trying, is there anything you're trying to obtain? Are you just trying to make it through the first 2 months of owning a house like unscathed? Like what exactly are you trying to what exactly, like, moving forward, are you looking to try and get into, if anything at all?
That's the question of the night, because truly up until this point, until I just bought a house and we have a kid on the way, my goal was just to do whatever I could to make some money.
Yeah.
As bad as that sounds, because I knew our goal was to buy a house. I knew our goal, I got married August of last year, so basically in a 6-month span I got married, bought a house, and we're pregnant. So for a while I had to take the route of I just want to make money because I know big things are coming.
Mm-hmm.
Now that things are starting to take shape a little bit, I've actually wondered this exact same thing. It's kind of, okay, so now what's the next step going to be? Where do I go from here? And I think that I think this year is going to be a big sign for that, because if one of my, let's say the golf travel stuff just blows up, what do I do with the other stuff? Or if it's the other way around, I feel like that's going to be the balance that I'm probably going to need to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, it's probably going to be this year, because I imagine what's going to happen is we're going to have a kid. Priorities are going to change a little bit. You're not going to be as big of a workaholic. You're going to have other things in your life that are more important, and then you got to figure it out. Okay, what's the next step? What do I do where I'm still making money and I'm happy and everything's good, and also I can live a little bit of a life? Because before it was just work, trying to make as much as you can. And now things are shifting a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see. That's a great question, and I truly don't have an answer at this point.
Hey, yeah, not everybody does.
Too soon.
Yeah, man, I hope you do too. And if I guess
next
I'm
podcast.
the next time we do this, absolutely, man, I would love it. I guess I don't know if it's jealousy or just kind of envious. I really hope it's the golf travel thing that just kind of absolutely explodes. I'm sure your wife would probably prefer you to be stateside more often than not. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do, and
business.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I have people who I sell for memorabilia and who are in the charity field that I've had conversations with that I trust, and I've said, listen, I don't know what's going to happen, but if I'm going one way and I can't keep up with what I'm doing on my side business, I would probably start to bring a partner in more and have them handle some of my clients, so that I'm not losing it and I'm not ditching people, but I'm also not completely bogged down with it as well. So yeah, it's very interesting to see how this goes. This year is going to be a really interesting dynamic, especially with a kid coming along. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, man. So, well, I wish you luck, and I'm going to see you twice a month at a minimum. So this was fun. Thank you so much, Andy Bulizak. This was fantastic. PGA Golf Pro, owner of Greenside Experiences, sales director at Signature Golf. Really appreciate your time today, man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Can't wait for the next one.